Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Reuben, joined here today with Aaron, and we are back to review The White Lotus Season 3, Episode 2, Special Treatments. And before we get into today's episode, I want to let you guys know that you can listen to this wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're craving more Nerd Soup, go ahead and check out our Patreon page where we upload reviews of shows and movies, previews, solo podcasts. A lot of fun stuff happening up there. Possibly giving Cam his own show because the listeners really seem to enjoy Cam. Probably going to go to his head. I'm going to have to pop his bubble. And follow us on social medias at Nerd Soup, at Beau Soup, at Nerd Soup Monkey on all platforms. Go follow me on Blue Sky. It's not as fun as Twitter. You know, Twitter's very chaotic. Blue Sky is kind of more of the same, but we're building it up. We're building a community. But don't follow me if you're not going to agree with everything I post.
It's we already.
I'm on the board. Jack Dorsey gave me a nice little board seat. You're not on Blue Sky yet, huh? I haven't gotten that. Unless you are and you just haven't followed me. That would be fucked up.
No, I can't. I feel like I'm already drained as it is. I don't need another app. I'm done with apps. I think I'm done with apps. Whatever I have on my phone is all that's ever going to be there.
Unless you're at Applebee's.
Brother, you're talking like I don't already have the Applebee's app. I'm set from that standpoint. I got all I need in that regard.
Got the Applebee's app, and he gets the apps at Applebee's. There's no one out there doing it like you, brother. I'll give you that. Yeah, but this show is a show that I'm very biased towards it because I just enjoy it so much. This was, for me, it was such a fun hour of television to cap off my Sunday night. Poured myself a little Johnny Walker. It felt like I was literally at the hotel, gossiping with the girls, hanging out with my weird incestuous family from North Carolina, being put in the friend zone by somebody I'm in love with, although I was always in the friend zone. So you can't be put in the friend zone if you were there to begin with. Experiencing a robbery and, the thrill of being alive, the adrenaline rush of somebody holding a gun at you, and, awkward dinners between people who don't really like each other, but you're trying to make friends, right? We're all at this resort. Why not? I thought it was hilarious. And my MVP so far this season has been Parker Posey. It was to a point in this episode where everything she said and did was hilarious to me. I just couldn't stop laughing by every choice she made in these scenes.
Should I be impressed? Actresses are all basically prostitutes.
And like I said, I'm just very biased towards this show. I really enjoy it. It's just so easy to settle in with this world. It was like there was no wait between episode 1 and episode 2. Really could have been dropped as a two-parter.
That family just gives me the creeps, man. Hold on a sec. I need to get my Diet Dr. Pepper before I continue this review, or I'm going to be just craving it.
That's fine. Yeah, no, go ahead. You're going to be like Saxon after the massage, I'll
be going fucking feral if I don't have my double DP. Yeah, they freak me out. It's just not a good vibe from any conversations they have, no matter who it is. Even like the youngest ones you feel like are cool, but like that conversation on a hammock was a little weird. Saxon just freaks me out like a lot. The way her mom interacts with Saxon is fucking strange. It's always, I feel like we've definitely seen that before, where it's like the older sibling is clearly the favorite. No matter what he says, it's just, oh, Saxon, oh, you're crazy. But like, I don't know. I'm fucking 30 plus. I wouldn't make like a happy ending joke with my mom. Well, he wasn't joking, but like, I wouldn't even let her know that I know what that is even. He's just way too comfortable. And she's just slapping her knees at her son, the fucking stand-up comedian, who's weird and freaks me out. I feel bad for the dad. I don't know what he's into. It's probably really some fucked up shit, but he can't even relax, enjoy his vacation. We can't even let him be weird because he's too stressed out that he's probably going to go to jail for the rest of his life.
When I was listening to him on the phone call, and his business partner, or the guy that he helped launder the money, I kept trying to place the voice, and then eventually I was like, got it. It's a dude from Everything Everywhere All at Once, Ke-Huy Quan.
Oh.
And yeah, I do hope that it's canon that he's just the little boy all grown up from Indiana Jones, and he just turned out to be a complete scumbag. So, Indy, bad stepfather. But yeah, no, he turns out to be the most normal out of the group, and looks like he's into some shady shit and that he might be going to jail. And it is funny the way that they're playing with, he didn't really want to take this trip, but because his daughter wants to study Buddhism, they want to stay at this luxury hotel. But now this problem he's having, because when it's night, it's day. When it's day, it's night. So he can't get anybody on the phone. So it's just a dilemma for him that I imagine it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. But yeah, no, overall, like Saxon's jokes, just not even clever, just blatantly racist. And his mom's like, she's so funny. You know, typical mama's boy where, like you said, anything he says or does is just going to be praised. Regardless of how crude and nasty he can be. And when he was getting the massage, I mean, I was like, this poor woman, this guy is such a bastard. He really is. Like I said in episode 1, I thought maybe this was going to be the pinnacle of the douchebag characters, and he's making a strong case for it, man. He's bad. But like you even said, between the other siblings when they're on the hammocks, it's like the younger brother clearly doesn't know who he is. So hearing him talk that way about their sister, he feels like it's okay to bring this up to her. And she's just like, what the fuck, dude? She smiles when he approaches the hammocks like, oh, I get to, relax here with my brother in the middle of the ocean. Look how beautiful it is. And he's like, have you ever fucked? She's like, what the fuck?
I don't know. My family, it's not for me. They seem to be rich though, so at least they got that going for them.
Well, dude, when she was like giving them life lessons when they call her out for being rude, which I thought was so funny, dude. That whole conversation she has with Leslie Bibb, I was like, this is so awkward. It's like you don't know if she does remember her, or she probably doesn't because she seems so drugged out. But she's like, the people are going to be gunning from you. You come from money, you're hot. Just the way they all talk together, talk to each other is so nasty.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always cringing when they're on the screen because it's just the most awkward. That was like one of the most awkward encounters like I've watched, and it's just something as simple as somebody being rude at a table, but she did it so well, and they just left it lingering for so long. Where if I was Leslie Bibb, I would have been like, all right, nice to meet you, like 10 seconds into it.
No, she kept going back. Like clearly this person either doesn't remember you or wants nothing to do with
I wouldn't
you.
even have said hi.
Right.
I see people that I clearly know and I just avoid because it's just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not having an interaction.
I've ran into family in public and I just try to avoid them.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm going to see them eventually because we're family, holidays, birthdays, stuff like that. So later, we'll talk later. We'll talk when it's appropriate. But Leslie Bibb's character, I mean, all the three ladies, I thought the continuing conversation into the night, it was funny the way that they were talking so much shit about Lori. And then when it's Kate and Lori together without Jacqueline, they start talking shit about Jacqueline. Well, I do think Jacqueline deserved it a bit because you're starting to see their personalities come to light where even though she's got this success, she has a lot to prove. So those interactions between them were just so funny and so awkward. You're picking up a lot from how they feel about each other and really how they feel about themselves. And kind of what we suspected, that there's a lot of tension and baggage underneath these relationships. And I think, we've kind of all been there where you have a closeness between friends and sometimes you've just known each other for so long and it's very easy to talk shit about them behind their back. And especially when you haven't seen them for so long, and especially when your lives have diverged, and there's still that sense of competition between them.
Yeah, well, if two of them are together and you're not there, just know you're getting fucking destroyed.
I mean, that's been Teddy for like the last 2 years on this podcast. He has no idea, but he deserves it because today he sends me a video cooking, and I'm like, "Where'd you get that pan?" And he's like, "Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Are you gatekeeping a pan?"
That's different though.
Oh, now you're siding with Teddy.
No. I was talking shit about Teddy.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what the fuck? You guys are like really sensitive about your kitchenware? This is my find. And then later in the day, he just randomly sends me a link. Okay. Now you want to, in the future, be like, oh, I put Reuben onto that pan. Whatever. Scumbag. Yeah, but we learned that Kate's, that she's, she was divorced and she has to pay alimony. Lori.
About time.
Lori's daughter was expelled from 2 schools for violent behavior, and they're talking shit about that when she's like, these kids in New York, by the time they're 8 years old, they're all sucking each other off. And Jacqueline's like, I feel like kids, they're pretty much the same everywhere. And then Jacqueline, when they were like, she looks great, but tired. It's like, well, you just said that she looks great. that she didn't get this promotion at her job. So it feels like they're all escaping from things in their personal lives, but the other characters know this and they have no problem talking shit about the issues that they're having.
Yeah, it seems like every time they're talking shit, there'll be a fun gag where just the other person just is just out of earshot every time, and they just never get to hear it. Because that's a word, like that's as suspenseful as you can get, you know, talking shit about someone and then they show up and they're right behind you.
I was wondering if Jacqueline maybe did hear or was able to put it together, but maybe that was, she still hears them talking. She can't really make out what they're saying, but in her own mind, oh, because I'm not in the room, they're talking shit about me. So I wonder if in episode 3 becomes less passive aggressive and more just aggressive. And it felt like their wealth or their health mentor guy, who I wanted to bring this up in episode 1, when they bring up the fact that he's Russian.
He's from Russia.
They all look at him like questionably. I don't know if they're like, we support Zelensky. I didn't know what that was about. But I wonder if he was almost doing a little divide and conquer, because he tells Jacqueline and Lori the same thing about their metrics. But with Kate, he's like, you're pretty much average. So I wonder if there's an angle he's taking with that.
Well, he was definitely involved with the robbery, right?
Did you stop it and try to investigate frame by frame? Because there was that one body who stops Gaitok, I think that's his name, the security guard.
Well, he just held up the railing from going down and letting the van go through. That's heist 101.
Oh, right. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah. Little distraction.
It's okay, Watson.
Teasing him at some. No, I mean, if you got a splinter or anything, I could patch you up. Rip that right out of you. Give you a nice little Band-Aid.
But yeah, it seems like that was...
Talk shit now. Don't get all sensitive if I get married.
What do you mean?
Well, Sherlock always gets upset when Watson leaves him. Watson's always got the fine honeys.
But Sherlock has a crippling heroin addiction. And a superiority complex.
That is, you make a compelling argument there.
Yeah, so it's a wash, really.
Heroin addiction's kind of in right now.
But I don't think it's a coincidence that he held up the gate while the van just perfectly timed it through.
Yeah, and on the internet, people were saying maybe Mook is involved with this little bait and switch in episode 1 where she's talking with the shady guys. And naturally, you're going to be like, keep an eye out on those two. And then even the way that she checked up on her friend, she's just like, oh, are you okay? Maybe people are looking too much into it. But man, that was another scene where he invites her to lunch and she knows the entire episode what he's going to do, that he's going to confess his feelings. And it actually wasn't as awkward as I thought it was going to be, because he does seem like a respectable guy. The pitch that he was giving to her was so funny. He's like, our families know each other. I'm good with tools. You're not.
It's kind of all you need. Yeah.
Right, yeah. She's like, no, I do suck with tools.
Well, one of the MOs of the show is like an attractive young woman convincing people to commit crimes for them. It happened every season. So, Mook, you're suspect number 1.
Yeah, no, I forgot about that too. I guess that's why a lot of people are saying that she's probably involved. I was surprised by that because I remember seeing that in the trailer, and naturally I thought that was going to tie into the shooting we saw at the beginning of the first episode. So I didn't expect that to happen so quickly, but when Chelsea and Chloe do go to the gift shop, I thought, oh, okay, they're going to do the break-in scene.
I mean, what do they have? Like the crown jewels in that gift shop?
They were talking it up like there's some really good stuff, but yeah, I don't know.
It's a hotel gift shop. I'm sure there's other places to hit up.
Yeah, like if I was doing that heist on GTA, I'd be like, Lester, what the fuck? You sent me all the way to Bangkok to rob a White Lotus? I mean, there's got to be something more valuable here. There's a bunch of temples and art. Bangkok, full of temples and art. Yeah, but I wasn't expecting that. And then the scene acts as, who's behind it. So we have even more mystery now added to the show. And I imagine that is going to be resolved eventually. But also it's a way to bring Chelsea and Rick closer together after Rick was so distant in that first episode, where he's able to, embrace her, comfort her.
Yeah,
and eventually they do make love.
I liked him in this episode.
Yeah, I think Walton Goggins, he's one of my favorite guys on TV right now. But yeah, he's, playing this mysterious character, still not sure about his motives, but he seems to be, really interested in the older woman and her husband for whatever reason. But I do enjoy the chemistry between them. It's not as creepy as it could have been.
I don't know. I just picture me on set when that's like, I'm the actor and like, all right, I want you to lean in and just start sucking that titty. Like, like, excuse me?
Like in any other setting, I would love this, but with all the cameras and people and lights,
No, I just, yeah.
it's tough.
Usually I do
That's
a cut.
acting.
Yeah. Or like,
Well, if Kubrick's directing you, you're like, hell yeah. Or Fincher.
yeah, it just wasn't, it just took me aback. I'm like, oh, there we go.
Now, I would
love-
want to see David Fincher's behind the scenes of him directing a porn. Those actors they're literally going to fucking die by the end of that.
I wonder what, I don't know. I feel like I like his shady dealings more than I do Jason Isaacs' shady dealings. Because Jason Isaacs, there's probably like 1,000 sob stories that came out of that $10 million he got for that job. Like he ruined people's lives. Like Walton Goggins, like probably into some crime, but like cool crime.
Oh, yeah. Whatever Isaacs is up to, he definitely left some bodies in the wake of his destruction.
Like more Danny Ocean than like Bernie Madoff. That's what I'm hoping for Rick.
Yeah, a bit of a Robin Hood. Even getting the insight into his past life, his childhood, that his mother died when he was 10 and his father was murdered before he was born. I don't know if they're going to necessarily tie that into whatever he's up to, but even the therapist that he was talking to, Amrita, who we see in the first scene, she was even a bit shaken up by how empty this man was. When he was like, there's no gas in the tank, you can't start the car, she was like, some of these Westerners, they can be a bit philosophical. And his girlfriend was funny too, where she's like,
You seemed really like wise.
I mean, Goggins, he was able to deliver those lines in a way that really made you pity the character. And it's basic information, the mom ODing, father was murdered, but puts his character in a totally different perspective than somebody like Isaacs, to where his family is not doing him any favors and he himself seems like a real scummy guy. So maybe as we peel back the layers on a character like Rick, we'll learn to like him even more than we already do, just based on his overall vibe. He's got just an incredible receding hairline. And when he said that he wasn't going bald, that was funny too. She's like, I guess nobody's ever put a mirror to the back of your head.
Yeah. Should have went to Turkey instead of Thailand.
Maybe that's his next trip. Take a detour to Constantinople, flying back home on Turkish hairlines.
When you ever see a dude's like Instagram stories and it's like in Turkey, it's like, I know what you're doing, buddy.
Yeah, you're going to see the Blue Mosque. Taking that trek like Alexander the Great.
Yeah, see you in 4 months when your follicles start coming in.
Some of these other celebrities, they get fucking full head of lettuce.
Garfield's is sick.
It's so funny you said that and I thought of the cat.
Garfield going to Turkey for a hair transplant.
But in my head, it wasn't, why is he talking about a cartoon? It was, is Garfield bald?
He was.
Oh, but he's a cat, So, yeah, no, I guess, Andrew Garfield's is incredible. That man got the fucking NBA 2K hookup.
Yeah, look, if you're me, my hair is good, but I'm rapidly going gray. And I was wondering what the better trade-off would be.
Oh, come on. Definitely gray.
Gray's
I know.
Cool,
honestly.
I know, but it's like, I'm too gray now.
I'm going gray as fuck too in my beard.
It used to be okay, but now it's like getting to the point where it's like, I don't think I'll ever dye it, but it's just like, all right, I'm just going to be the gray guy.
You're the gray man. But that dinner scene between them was funny when he asked Greg, what do you do? Greg's like, this and that. He's like, I'm in the same line of work here. Now he's going by the name Gary. It did look like Belinda, as the season progresses, is going to realize that's Greg. I know this guy. And how is that going to play into avenging Tanya in some sort of way to where Greg is served justice? But it's funny because he's got this perfect vibe of someone who seems normal but is secretly evil and also might be gay. He's got a lot going on for him, that actor.
Yeah, I wonder if he just has endless goons on his paybook, because Tanya got rid of a lot of them at the end of season 2. Does he just have more hitters in case Belinda says something and that's who's shooting up the Lotus?
Yeah, it's just an overreaction to him going down and he decides to just take out everybody or a bunch of people. Snakes on a plane situation, except it's shells and a Lotus. And even when he asks them how they met, she's like, a matchmaking service in Dubai. And then later in the evening, he's like, yeah, she's a prostitute. Chelsea's like, no, she's nice. She's pretty. She's my friend. She can't be a prostitute.
Could have just said Instagram.
Yeah. Or just they seem kind of shameless. As long as you don't know what we're up to in the shadows, we really don't care what you think about us. Because even Chloe is, she's weird, and I think Chelsea trusting her so easily is going to backfire. And even her behavior during the break-in felt like she kind of knew what was going on.
And all of a sudden, Quebecians want to pretend or want to be Canadians.
Yeah, is there something behind that?
Almost all this time, they just point their nose down on other Canada. They want to be separate, but now I'm a Canadian.
Yeah, there seems to be some unity there. Because even
and this is pre-tariff. This was shot a year ago.
Right.
Yeah, I've learned a lot of Canadian history the past couple of weeks.
Oh yeah.
No, because apparently when they were booing the anthem in Quebec, it was like a nice moment for Canada because they're like, oh, even in Montreal, they feel some nation's pride after years of just being like turned off by other Canada. So I like that.
Oh yeah, they're always trying to gain independence, right?
Yeah.
Polite resistance instead of armed resistance.
I love learning new things that I could be wrong about, but just throwing it out there like it's fact. It's my favorite thing.
Well, when you have a YouTube channel, you can do that.
It's one of the beauties.
Yeah, there are no community notes here. There are comment section. People will call you out, but nobody reads the comments anymore. Yeah, but dude, you know what I love? When older people aren't necessarily great entertainers, like they're not good enough to be professionals, but they can still put on a good entertaining show. So when the older Thai diva gets up there and she's just got, talk about aura farming too, the entire show. Like when you first see her and she's putting on her makeup, cruise the bay. But then when she gets up there and she starts killing it, I love that shit, man. I love when older people get in their bag with their little hobbies. Dude, do you know the guy who plays the manager was also the dude from Zone of Interest?
Oh, yeah.
They need to get the fuck out of that hotel.
Oh, my God.
Everybody run. Do you know who that man is?
Talk about range, huh?
Yeah, no, because even this, he's terrifying in Zone of Interest, even though he's, it's a very reserved performance. But here he's, the typical goofy, kind of awkward manager. And even when they're telling him, oh, you should go up there, and he's like, no, I would never, but maybe one day. And then he just stops talking and he looks a little ashamed and embarrassed and then just kind of scurries off.
They should have cut to him like alone in his room in the mirror. How could you think you could go up there? Talentless sack of shit. You'll never be good enough to go on stage.
You'll never be her.
You're nothing, just like mother told you were.
I wonder if he's got to be German, I guess. That's fun. Yeah, Christian Friedel. Yep, played Rudolph Haas in The Zone of Interest. Yeah, that is some range, dude, because this he looks so innocent, He's got he's got a baby face. But that was fun being when somebody pointed that out on Twitter. They were like, I kept looking at this guy and he looks so familiar and I finally placed him. It's another great part of these shows is that you get the international cast. It's just not your typical American English actors, but you get people from, that are famous in other parts of the world and now introduced to a new audience.
Yeah.
Did they imply that Jacqueline could read Thai? She's like, oh, I'm going to read this book.
I think there's an English side to it.
Oh, there's an English side? Okay.
I think so.
What's interesting too is when you look at like the characters who are always kind of young and naive and idealistic, they always betray what they believe in. So I wonder, so far with Piper, I don't get any hints of that, but I do wonder, what's going to be the thing that makes her more like her family or makes her make that choice to be more like her family. But so far, I don't really get that vibe from her.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely seems to be like disgusted by Saxton and kind of not.
I mean, that shit's not normal, dude, to talk that way.
She got to get going on her project though. She's procrastinating.
Yeah, it's hard not to. I mean, her parents, like they said, they were like, you wanted to do this trip. And she's like, I don't want to fucking stay here.
It was funny when the dad's like, when are you meeting with him? And she's like, oh, I didn't book it yet. So, okay. So this trip could just be a fucking waste of time.
Right. Yeah, no, the trip ends up just being, she doesn't get any work done, but her father goes to jail as soon as they get home.
And one of her siblings gets shot dead.
Unfortunately, it's definitely going to be the middle kid. It's not going to be Saxon or the youngest, Lachlan. But dude, it was brutal when Mook goes to check up on Guy Tuck and she's like, oh, I have to go. My mom cooked. And there's a pause. You're thinking, no, maybe she'll invite him over for dinner. Nope.
Yeah, it's just give up, buddy. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, bro. Like,
And she's probably like involved in that crime. So you don't want to get tied up with that. No
oh,
one
it's going to be
wants-
typical. He can't see that she's involved because he's so in love with her. So he's
or she's going to
blinded.
use him,
Yeah.
and he goes to jail.
Well, I do wonder too if she's involved with the conspiracy, not the conspiracy, but whatever Goggins is up to, or whatever Rick is up to with Shritala and her husband, because she does have that information about her. I mean, that could be information that several other employees have as well, but there was an emphasis on their shared looks. So it's fun. I mean, even besides all the mystery, I think that's a great part of the show, is that you can just enjoy it for the comedy. You know, the way that the score plays into the awkward conversations, it always carries it beat for beat. Just overall good vibes. I did find the ending shot to be not quite as compelling as the end of episode 1. That's why I felt like it could have been a two-parter premiere. And you know, I enjoyed the Belinda stuff as well. We didn't really talk much about her, but you know, her getting the warrior massage, and then she was doing her massage on him and trying not to look at him, trying not to be inappropriate, even though he comes out in that Speedo and he's absolutely ripped, and she's like, fuck. So I do wonder what's going to inspire her to call her son over as well, because she feels a little lonely. But I mean, so far, so good with this show. Just doesn't miss a beat from season to season.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially when we kind of know what to expect. In some ways, like we know how these seasons usually progress and how the mystery unfolds. So it's definitely fun to check in on a week-to-week basis and just get a little more information and to see where it's all headed.
Yeah, and I think that is a good place to end it. So we will be back for episode 3 next week. Really excited. Like I said, it's a show that I don't even feel the wait from week to week, because once you start that episode, you're right back in it. And Aaron, thank you for joining me. And for all you listening out there, comment below who's committing these crimes. We need the internet sleuths, because we got some good ones in our comment section. But don't, like, you can correct me in the comments, but don't correct me in my DMs.
Be better.
Oh, fair enough. I need to stop making excuses. I need to be like Chalamet. I want to be great, like Michael Phelps.